man, I feel so tired today. Spoilers from several hundred years old book. Exactly. That's what we're gonna do. I just feel like I have to place it there because if someone wants to come in and they want to just know about the book and not be spoiled because they haven't read it themselves, I don't want them to be, caught off guard. So I feel like it's better that I say that we will discuss potential spoilers. I don't think it will actually be that much spoilers because I think everyone has a hum of what the book is all about and the ending of the book. And I don't know how in depth we're going to go on the actual endings and everything. It depends on how Jean and I feel, I think. But I still feel like that's loud. It's nice of us to at least say that we're going to be spoiling. But hello everyone and welcome to the stream. I will actually be calling Gina and see if she will answer me. Wait. Let me call. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to my stream. It's been a while.
Thank you.
Let me also change to the overlay. Oh my god, I have my Christmas outfit today. Isn't it cute?
It is very cute.
Yes.
I did my hair up for today because I
Oh,
felt like having my hair up.
very pretty. I did Christmas lights today in my home, so I have a Christmas spirit. To be honest, I only did 2 Christmas stars in 2 windows, and I did it like 20 minutes before the stream started.
But still,
I still got the Christmas feeling going in my body.
yes.
Oh my god. But yeah, we're going to talk about Monkey King, or well, I think most people know the book called The Journey to the West. It's the same book I have gathered. I have done research on this. It's the same book, but ever since they translated it and did an abrogate version of it, because the translation that we read is an abrogation, because the real thing is more than 2,000 pages long, and we read a translation that was 334 pages. I think I have it on a slide later on. Yeah, okay, you can check it.
Something like that. I have it next to me though.
oh yeah, you have the book.
It's in my book.
Fun fact, I read Gina's version. She read it first and she gave the book to me. So we didn't read it at the same time. We read the exact same copy of the book, actually.
Yeah. It's 339.
39. I was pretty close, though.
Yeah.
Did you look at that?
But very shortened version.
But I think it's like, because there's also an introduction to it. So a lot of things falls on an introduction and like the foreword of the book.
Yeah, but those pages are numbered in a different way. So the 339 pages are actually the novel.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Happy Saturday to you too. Oh, thank you, Hunter. Thank you. It is
very happy Saturday.
Gina and I, we went to the gym this morning.
Yeah, my legs hurt.
My legs hurt too. Oh my god. Like a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I thought my calves were going to hurt, but it's more my thigh area that hurts. And it doesn't like hurt. It's more like an uncomfortable feeling, because when I sit down, it hurts, and when I rise up, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt all the time. So it's not bad pain. But it's not comfortable. That's for sure.
Yeah, the same. And it's kind of always uncomfortable and a tired feeling, but also an uncomfortable feeling. And then when I kind of stretch my legs, like when like stretch them to the side, then they hurt.
That makes sense. I want to put some background music on, so you can talk. I'm just going to like adjust some things.
Okay. Some things that I am not allowed to hear, I see.
Yeah. And if you listen to the stream, you can hear it, I guess.
Yeah, that's gonna be some complications then, because then I need to listen to my own voice being out of sync with me when I speak. I don't think that's a good idea.
You don't think that's a good idea?
And I don't think so.
Damn. Okay, see. Now I will need people's help in telling me if they can hear the music. And Gina.
Yes. Because I want to be heard as well. Because I am important.
Are you?
I've heard.
Of course you are. Sorry. You got some water? Yes, I have a cup of tea. It's a big cup because it's 1 liter big.
I have my water bottle and I have tea.
What kind of tea did you get?
I actually dared to take black tea because I figured we're doing a collab. I'm not going to be speaking that much, so black tea should be fine. And it's my wild... Yes. Black tea isn't the best for vocal cords, so I kind of avoid it on stream.
Yeah.
But this is a black wild cherry tea.
Oh, I don't think I've tried that one.
No, you haven't. It's kind of a new one, so...
I
don't think you've been over since I got it.
Yeah, probably not. I have cactus tea, my favorite.
The new one or the good one?
You know what? I actually lied. I don't have the cactus tea. I have the North Pole special. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, I mean, I did not lie. I just didn't remember for a split second.
How could you forget which tea you're having?
Because
you're an alien. Ophi has been kidnapped.
But you know, the tin boxes that you have your tea in, the one that I have the North Pole special in right now is the one that I usually have my cactus tea in. So, you know, my mind is getting fucked sometimes when taking it.
Yeah, relatable. I understand.
Yes.
That reminds me that I gotta fix my tea cupboard. It's not a complete mess, but it's more messy than I would like it to be.
Yeah. I actually have fixed mine, but I don't know. I have so many teas that it's not that I don't like them, because they are drinkable, but I don't think I will drink them because I have other teas that I do enjoy. So I think I have the teas for people I don't really like that much, and I'm like, you want to have some tea? And I force them to have the not so nice tea.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I did that to you, of course, Gina. No. I good tea.
Except for the Christmas teas that you didn't like.
I mean, I tried to give them to you. I mean, free stuff, right?
True.
1 liter teacup. Why is this the first time I hear of it? I don't know. It was the first time I heard of it like a couple of months ago. I went to a store in my hometown, and my mom was going to buy like a goodbye present to a nurse at her work. And it's like a decoration kind of place, I think. It's a gay man who has it. Not that that matters, but he has really good taste in stuff, you know? Interior design and things. And they had like this big thing, and it was the 1 liter, and he said that he have it every night, you know, and he have soup in it, and he have tea in it, and milk chocolate, and I was like, I need one. Sign me up. I think it was like $20. But it's definitely worth it, because I don't have to make that many trips to the kitchen for more water, you know? And yeah. I don't know, I like it. Oh, hi Cold, you're here too. Oh my god, so many people coming in.
Yes, everyone is here.
Just because they like you.
Yes, because I'm cute.
Yeah, Gina brings all the boys to the yard. how do you keep the tea warm? Oh, I don't. But I also have like a thing. I buy tea. Like Gina is not the same as me. Gina, she only drink tea when it's warm. You know, I like my tea cold as well. So I buy teas, and that tastes good both cold and warm. So when it gets cold, I don't mind it. I still drink it. So
My favorite stream tea is like that. So I do have a couple of teas that are like that. That are just safe to be forgotten.
Yeah, but because like I drink half the liter, and it's like warm or lukewarm, and then it's not like it's getting cold-ish. It doesn't get like, you know, ice cold. It just gets not warm. You know what I mean?
Yes, humid.
Exactly. Why do we not have that word in English? What do you call it? Like fart warm? I mean, that's the translation of it, though.
Yes, but you know, I mean, the nice way to say it would be it's room temperature, because that's what it is.
Room temperature tea, yeah, exactly.
But
I still feel like the Swedish fes humid is better, but
it's a way more descriptive word of what it actually is.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I read up on the Nobel Prize winner a little bit today. It doesn't really have anything to do with today's discussion, to be honest, but I still want to get it off my chest. I don't understand how a person who haven't written much work at all still get the Nobel Prize. Like, he have written things, but he have not written well-known things or things that people like. I mean, sure, like sometimes you'd be like, what the fuck, I've never heard of this author, you know, but they still have written a lot of things, and they're very famous in their home country and stuff, you know, and you'd be like, okay, I get it, you know, because they have written for many, many years, and they've written works that are a huge deal in their home country. But this, I just felt like, huh? I think I need to read up more on this guy, because I feel like I'm missing something. And he seems so young as well. Like, I'm not saying old people are the only one who can get the Nobel Prize, but it is a bit odd. Yeah?
I'm just gonna nod, because I basically have no idea, but yeah.
He had written one series, I think. I mean, he'd written many pieces, but mostly like poetry and dramas, like. But he'd written one literature work that I could find, and it was something about an artist, like a painter, and it's in 4 parts, and every part is like 500 pages or something. And there's another book that he written where he doesn't have any punctuation, and he starts in quotation mark because there's no punctures, you know, in the sentences. And he starts in quotation every new sentence with "I think."
That's a bit odd.
Imagine reading like 300 pages of "I think blah 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 blah, I think blah blah blah, I think blah 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 blah," you know, and keep doing that for 300 pages. And everyone on Goodreads and all the reviews are like, "Oh my god, this is the best thing I ever read in my entire life." And I tried to read the first page and I was confused. I don't know if it was my dyslexia, but I just did not understand.
I feel like I am way too used to reading how teenagers write to not be immensely annoyed by a sentence that always starts with the same way.
Yeah.
Because that's what the kids write all of the time.
I guess so, but I don't know, like, I would still want punctuations, and I understand because the I in "I think" is big, but technically I is always big, isn't it? And it's written in nynorsk.
Isn't that the one that's basically incomprehensible compared to the other one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. So I'm thinking maybe something is lost in translations, and that's why the English/Swedish version of it is just bad. But I just imagine no punctuation, and then you read the Swedish one, and it's just jag tror bla 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 bla, jag tror bla bla bla, för jag tror bla bla bla, jag tror, and so on. You laugh, but this person got the Nobel Prize.
Well, it's just that I've written a whole lot of lab reports that basically says that I think that blah 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 blah. I think blah 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 blah. So what I'm saying is that this author sounds a whole lot like my 14-year-old students.
Maybe your students are Nobel Prize winners without you knowing it. You know, all their
maybe
lab reports are just, you know, Nobel Prize.
And their writing skills is basically, like, their handwriting is that of a doctor's. So it could basically be misinterpreted into nynorsk.
You know,
probably.
I think we are the last generation, you and I, we come from the last generation where you actually got taught how to use a pencil, you know, properly, and how to do pretty handwriting. Because like people who are younger, even just like 2, 3, 4, 5 years younger than us, they legit don't know how to hold a pen or how to write their own names. I'm not even making that up. Like, people don't even know how to, you know, sign their names on papers. And I'm like, how do you not know how to sign papers? Like,
I have seen, but I think that was basically our age or close to. But she was holding the pen. The tip of the pen was aimed towards her.
That's funny.
And her thumb was on top like a lid.
Oh, but I do that. It's very comfortable. Yeah. I support that way. The other way, no.
Okay. I see how it is.
You guys use cursive writing? When I sign my name, I do. When I try to write pretty things, I do. Yeah, but I don't use it all the time, but like some letters I do, like the first letter in each sentence I sometimes do, but
I am way too used to being able to write extremely quickly, so when I write, I feel like my handwriting has not improved, but the opposite of improve since university. But I know how to write in cursive. And I do that when I want to, especially when I write something fancy. Yeah. When I like sign stuff, it's basically just starts off with cursive and then just blends into mush.
Yeah. My dad, when he signed his name, I asked him, you know, when I was little, I was like, how do you sign things? You know, because his signature is so cool. And he was just like, because his name starts with a T. So he does like a huge T. And then he just go, you know?
Yeah, that's basically what I do.
So I do the same. I do a big O for Ofi, and then
Yeah. I basically do a big G for Gina, and then E, and then
Yes. Oh my god. Suggestive cursive writing. I think so. Yeah. Like certain letters I do cursive and certain letters I don't. I think. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But like it's weird to see someone your own age take a pencil like they're holding, I don't know, a murder weapon, and then they like try to spell out letters like they have never held a pen before, and they like, you know, they look like a toddler. Like, I will never understand. And we're not that, you know. I feel like people our age should know how to use a pencil properly. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
I feel like kids in primary high school should know how to use a pen and how to write so it's legible. But I've honestly had kids in the 9th grade. They are full honest in 9th grade. And I've had to tell them that I am actually unable to read this. I have never before seen a student write something that I cannot read.
Oh no.
Like, I honestly just, hey, I cannot read this. I just assumed that you wrote nothing of use.
Not like this.
I can't grade anything that I can't even read. It's just that I could read some bits before that, and it just, meh. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I don't know. I just find it a bit odd, you know? Are you guys right-handed? I'm right-handed. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm mainly right-handed, but I've also...
When I'm eating, I'm left-handed.
Yeah, I like to eat with my left hand as well. But I am way more used to using my left hand now because I've trained it up for horse riding and stuff like that. You need to be really ambidextrous when you're dealing with horses. And I used to be extremely weak in my left because I injured my left when I was really young. But I'm not as ambidextrous as I was before my injury, but I am way more ambidextrous now than I used to be, like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I can't write with my left though. It's more like, you know, when I do things, when I do handiwork and when I'm eating, I do it with my left. My dad, he's like a double person. He can do everything both with his right and left. So you can put 2 pieces of paper next to, you know, each other, and he has like a pen in each hand and he can write at the same time with both hands. That's pretty cool to watch, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
my mom is left-handed and she does some things with her right hand, so she's kind of ambidextrous as well, but when she writes with her left.
My big brother is left-handed. I remember, like, you know, when we were in middle school, we had teachers who hated the fact that we were left-handed because we are in that generation, you know, and they forced him to stop using his left hand, and they were like, you know, you have to learn how to use your right hand like a normal person.
You had some old school teachers.
We did.
What's on earth?
And you know, like how I said that I like to eat with my left hand in like the school dining hall, you know, like when I was eating, one teacher came up behind me. She grabbed my hands and made me like let go of the utensils, and then she said, "This is not how you properly eat like a lady." No, she didn't say the lady part, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And she switched sides on the utensils, and then she like force fed me and said, "This is the right way to eat, because you need to eat on your right side, not your left side." After that, I decided to never, ever, ever eat on the right side, just to prove her, like, fuck you, you know. But
Sounds like you.
Yeah, it does. But, you know, I will never forget that time, how she just, like, came up behind me and she force-fed me. I think I was, like, 9 something. You know, I was not that young. I just remember the shame because everyone in my class was sitting by that table and they were like giggling and being like, "Oh, if you don't know how to eat properly," you know. That was not the issue.
That reminds me of something that, like, I am still very annoyed at this teacher. I am a teacher myself. I am still very annoyed at this particular teacher. But I've always been like one of the students who really liked to learn, and I always kind of wanted to be the best in English or math or whatever. In my second grade, because we were in mixed groups. We were like first year, second year, and third year in one class, which was weird because we were 4 classes with that kind of grading. I can talk for a long time about that, so never mind. But so I was in the second grade.
Yeah.
And this teacher thought that I wrote my number 9s the wrong way.
Oh, I remember you told me this. Yeah.
Because I write it like I start in the upper right corner, I do a circle, and then I loop back down. That's how I write number 9. I have always done. That is apparently the wrong way to write a number 9. So I got put in a little room on my own with a pen and like a wooden stencil to follow. And I had to start on the bottom and write an upside down number 6. That was the only correct way to write number 9.
I don't write number 9 like that, by the way.
Nobody does.
I just find it really
I am
funny.
a math teacher. No one writes number 9s like that. I have seen someone write a circle, release the pen, pop it back down and write like a line back down. I have seen that. That is slightly weird.
Yeah, my brother does that.
Fine. Yeah, but fine. It looks like a number 9. I can accept that. Someone writes it like in the start in the upper corner and they kind of just do a round and down. So basically like a number 6, but you still start in the upper right corner. I don't know why I was supposed to start in the down.
Psychopath.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Oh, hi gaming, welcome.
It's weird, and it's also like, what on earth did he want out of this? What was I to learn? I still wrote a legible number 9.
I think it's all about, some people are just like, I learned this way, so you should do it this way as well. I think. Because I had a teacher who, I don't know the English word for this, but it was in math class. My dad taught me how to do, because he helped me with my math homework. And we did the liggande stolen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did that. And it was correct and everything. I handed in my homework. This was also when I was in grade 4, maybe. I don't really remember. And the teacher told me that I could not do that, so he failed me on that assignment because that was not the correct way to do things, because it was old school and it was something our parents did back in the day, and I was not supposed to do it that way. And I was like, okay.
The interesting part there is that when you go to university and you do long division with your, I forgot the English word for it, but basically your X and Y's and your whole blah 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 thing. Then you do long division with liggande stolen.
Yeah. I just don't understand. And I remember I told my dad, and my dad got pissed off and he called the school, and so they took away the failed assignment, so I didn't have to redo it, but they told me to never use that version of math again because it was not the correct way. So I forgot how to use that, but I remember it made more sense to me than the way that the teacher told me how to do it. So I was a little bit sad. I remember that. And math was never my best part. So I was like, when my dad explained to me that way of calculating, I was like, oh my God, I actually understand. And then for the teacher to be like, yeah, you can't use that. My dad, he was like, it's probably because the teacher himself did not know how that system worked, so he can't pass you on it because he don't know how you calculated it. And I was like, oh yeah, but that's just dumb.
It's just dumb. Stupid.
Yeah.
It's because I am a math teacher as well. What I basically do when it comes to certain things And some things in science as well where it's applicable. But I basically go like, this is one method. This is another method. Both work. Choose the one that's best for you. Choose the one that you understand. That is the best.
Yeah.
Because no one learns in the same way. Not one solution works for everyone. You kind of need to go on the student's level.
Yeah, I think like everyone is also different and everyone's way of thinking and understanding is different. So sometimes it's good with different, ways of coming to the same solution, Yeah. It's just like, if it works for you, that's good, because that's one way of doing it. Like shutting one version down is just dumb to me.
Yeah. If it works, it works.
Yeah, then I could understand if it's just like, if the question is prove how you calculated or got this answer and you don't actually explain how you got to that answer and you just write the plain answer in math, then I understand you get failed on that one. But if you actually explains and the method works, what is the issue? I don't understand,
Yeah, the only weird thing there, because I remember having graded a math test where the student got, basically had a really weird method that I had never seen before, but they got the correct answer. Then I basically had to just spend a lot of time trying to understand if this method worked because it was a fluke, basically just random numbers and somehow they appeared to be the correct answer, or if it was actually a valid method. And it turned out that it was a valid method. I've also seen some other times where I could basically see that, no, they just saw the answer from someone else and just made up random numbers to get that answer.
Yeah.
But sometimes they actually do have a method that works, even though it's really weird and it's really not the most efficient way. If it's a method that works, it's fine.
Yeah, I feel so too. It makes sense.
And I also remember when I had programming classes at uni, we basically just made programs and there was not a single program that was the same. We had a class of 50 students or something like that. No one had the same program because it's so individual.
Yeah. Are we buffering a little? No, I don't think so. It looks good from my part. I don't know.
I have the stream up for visual purely, and they look pretty good to me.
Yeah, it looks good to me too. Maybe it's because I'm not. We're discussing other things than the people in the chat are.
Maybe so.
But it is a book discussion, I don't know. You guys talking about vegetarianism, and we're talking, other things.
I am not reading chat at all.
Yeah.
Maybe I should. I don't know.
I am glancing at the chat, but if I see no questions, I see no questions.
I see.
Yeah. Maybe we should go get into the book discussion. What do you think?
Yeah, probably. I also like how my head just bobs to the side as soon as I take a sip of tea.
You're a side head tipper, I see.
Yeah. It's because I have the mic on my left side, so I have the teacup on my right, and then somehow the camera just thinks that I'm leaning to the side.
I'm gonna put it on your face. No, I'm not gonna put it on your face.
I want to be visible too.
Okay, fine. I will put it behind us a little bit. I made a slideshow.
Yeah, I also like how you found the version of the book that we read.
Yeah, we need to show the one we read.
Yeah.
And maybe I will move me, and I will move you, and that way I can look at the picture a little bit better. I did this one just purely because of the background, because I feel like if we're gonna have a book discussion, maybe not everyone know the Monkey King.
Yep.
So maybe we need to like tell everyone what the book is first before we get into the discussion, you know?
Might be a good idea, because it is a kind of famous novel, but it's also kind of a niche one.
I feel like, you know, if you know it, you know it. And I feel like, you know, when we tell everyone about it, and if you don't know it and we tell you about it, you're going to be like, ah. Because like once you know of it, you will see it everywhere. Like you will see references everywhere, you know?
Yeah, and also reading it, you see a lot of references everywhere.
Oh my god, yes, so true. Nice outfit, Ovi. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Ovi always gets the prettiest clothes.
Who's seen the movie? I have not seen the movie, and there's actually many movies, but I'm guessing you mean the new movie, animated movie that came out on Netflix last year, I think? Or was it this year? There's a new movie who came out on Netflix kind of recently. I know that.
I kind of saw the series that came out to Netflix. I think it was an Australian thing. It was like kind of weird.
Yeah.
And Tripitaka was a woman.
Yeah.
And it was very weird, and I stopped watching it.
They also, I think they made an opera, so you can go and watch an opera on Journey to the West, which, you know, in my mind, it makes sense. But then I looked it up because I'm really into opera and musicals, so I was like, you know, I need to check it out. Is it worth watching, you know? And I listened to the music and saw the fighting scenes on stage, and I was like, it's epic, but does it make sense? You know? I don't know. Like, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense, if that makes sense. I was like,
kind of does.
I was confused. I did not know what I was gonna think about it, you know? And hi, Yurino. Welcome. I believe it's about mythical creatures from east to west. Oh, this book? No, really, no. The book was written in the Ming Dynasty, which is the 1600. I think roughly 1580 something. It had something with 90s, maybe. But it was also published like in different parts. I think there's 4 parts in total, and they were like published in different times. And I don't think there is a specific date to when each volume was published, and each volume is roughly 480 or 530 pages, depending on which volume we're talking about. And I think it was not until the 1600 that it was all published as one entire book, which is roughly 2000 pages ish, something like that. We read the book, as you can see to the side, and it's 339 pages. And it's Julia Lovell's translation. I think she translated it 2012 or something like that. And she did a selected chapters and made them into more like contemporary English that it's more understandable. I think the first ever translation was done 1945 or 49-ish. It was during the Second World War, something-ish like that. I'm not so sure about the dates there, but the translation we read was done very recently, I know. But you can really tell because it's unabrogated. It's like selected parts, which makes it hard for us to speak on the entire thing during this entire book discussion, because we haven't actually read the proper one. I don't think...
And sometimes you can kind of feel that it is an abridged version.
Yeah. And I think we're going to like discuss that more. I think that's like one of our, at least my biggest pet peeves in this entire book. Like, it's the thing I dislike the most. So I will touch on the subject, I promise.
Yeah, I kind of figured that we're gonna talk about that.
But the story was actually inspired by truth in some ways. It was about a Buddhist monk, Sun Sang. Oh, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing it. Yeah, something
or some.
like that.
I don't know. Neither of us speak Chinese.
Yeah. And this monk set out on an epic pilgrimage in India in the year 627. And this pilgrim, like the story of this pilgrim got told in different tales from mouth to mouth. And then it got like spun out of, you know, they added so many things and they were like, oh, he had to go through so many obstacles and he seen this and he did that on his pilgrimage. And then in the Ming Dynasty, this author decided that he wanted to like tell all these collected stories about these pilgrims that became like a living legend. That it came from a truth, but then it like turned into like an epic battle story with gods and everything in it.
Yeah, it's kind of mythological in nature almost.
Exactly. So he wanted to like, you know, write this story down because it's only been told through like, you know, tales like bonfire stories and legends and, you know, bits here and there. So he was like, I'm gonna write it all down and make it into this epic story and add like Taoism and Buddhism and moral stories and all these things. So the book is basically about this pilgrimage. But when he wrote the story, he decided to not follow the Buddhist himself, but he decided to follow one of his more well-known disciples, the Monkey King. Because he became such a phenomenon when, you know, people started making the legends about this pilgrimage that was 627 years, you know, like everyone was so interested in the Monkey King and how strong the Monkey King was and how fast he was and how cocky he was and how cool he was. So when they
and how rebellious at times as well.
Yeah, exactly. So they decided, like when they wrote this book, to see it from his point of view, which is very interesting, to be honest, because I feel like it started with a truth, like a story of like an actual Buddhist monk who went on a pilgrimage. And then people just started like spinning stories just for the fun of it, making it into like legends and adding gods and mythical creatures, you know. And then they gave him a disciple who was like, you know, a magical monkey. And he became
a magical stone monkey.
Even that. And then they made him like the main character, even though he never was the main character to begin with. Not in real life, in the pilgrimage that actually did happen, and not in the book either, or in the legends. I find that really interesting, you know, when I looked up the background of the story.
Yeah, and it's also so interesting because the book starts with how Monkey just came into existence. And I'm calling him Monkey because that's what the English translation is calling him, but it is Sun Wukong after he gets his actual name, because he had another name before.
Yeah, exactly. I also find it really... Oh, by the way, the picture up there is the author himself. If you wanted to see the author, it's pretty cool. But I also find it very interesting that this translation, it basically, the introduction was like, most of the names going to sound the same, so I have renamed them all for easier usage. So when I was trying to do some research and they were talking about certain people, I was like, who is though? I did not see a character named that, and then I had to like relearn all the names, which I understand that they did this because, as you can see, I wrote Julia Lovell's, her translation was to make it into lively contemporary English, and she wanted it to be easy access for the modern reader. which it makes sense, you know, it does, but in some ways it makes me sad that we are throwing away names. But I will call him Monkey. That's what I will call him.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of interesting, both on the names, because I can understand. I don't think I would have had much of an issue with just Sun Wukong and blah blah Wu blah blah, because all of them are called Wu something. I don't think I would have had much of an issue with it, but I definitely know a lot of people that would.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I started reading this book when I was in a real reading dump. I don't think I've read anything for like a year or something. So my reading comprehension was at an all-time low. This is not a good book to start with.
Agreed.
So I kind of also think that it's not... Sure, it's contemporary English, but it's not an easy read. Even with the name changes, it's not an easy read.
Yeah, but like, you know, imagine, because this kind of, when I read this, it kind of just, the entire time when I was reading it, I was like, you know, in my mind, I rather read the original, you know? But at the same time, I don't know if I have the patience for 2,000 pages when I did not really enjoy the 339 pages. You know, I was in shock. Shock, I'm telling you. When I went on Goodreads and I saw you gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Please explain. Because, you know, in my mind, this was the most boring experience of my entire life. It was just... no.
Yeah, and if I read the book now, I don't think I would have given it 5 out of 5 stars.
Okay, interesting.
But for me, it's a multitude of reasons, kind of, because I really, really like mythology. I really, really like learning about different kinds of mythology and people's views throughout history.
Yeah.
So getting an insight into China and ancient China through this kind of one of their greatest literary treasures.
Yes.
Written treasures. It was kind of an interesting bit. And I also really, like, one of the main reasons why I really, really love this book is because it got me back into reading.
Yeah.
Because
okay, that makes sense, I guess.
I fully recognize that it was not a good book to start again, like restart my reading with. But it still was the book that restarted my reading journey. So I really, really love it for that.
So you more like it for the experience that it gave, or like, you know, the feeling of it, and like you like the history and you appreciate what it have done for literature history more than you did not really enjoy the plot and the story and the book per se.
Yeah, definitely.
See, that's me, but I gave it 3 stars. like, we think the same and we like it the same amount, I think. But I gave it 3 stars because it was a very average read for me. like, you know,
but
I don't know.
But for me, you also have to add on top of, because we like it for the same reasons, like the history of it and what it's done and stuff like that. But for me, you also have the extra bit of it brought my love for reading back.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Which makes me love it more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It does. I think that's what it is with Frankenstein. Because when people be like, you know, it's not perfect. And I'm like, I know. And they like, you know, tell me that how is that your favorite book of all time? And I can't really explain it. I just know that for the first times when I read Frankenstein, it made me happy. It made me sad, and it made me think about certain things, and I started to read more. And every time I reread Frankenstein, which I do once or twice a year, I just get a happy feeling. you know, because I remember the first time I ever read Frankenstein. But I can't say why I like Frankenstein. I just do.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes...
And it's kind of the same for me, because when I read this book, I remember actually laughing out loud because it was just pure nonsense at times.
That is very true.
Yeah. And you just kind of shout out because it's a weird read, and sometimes it's weird in a fun way, and sometimes it's just weird in a really kind of angry related
annoying.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And sometimes it's just a WTF moment as well. So
it is a mix of things, I think.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to read like the real thing and compare it to these translations, because I don't know how accurate this translation is. Like, I also feel like that's how I feel about all translations, you know? I decided for a while that, you know, I have Audible, you know? Amazon's audiobook app. And if you have Audible membership, you get some like classical literature for free that you can listen to that is on their like membership thing. And they had like a fully cast Jane Austen, like all the Jane Austen books with like fully casted members. So, you know, you get like different voices for all the characters. And I was like, this is awesome. I've read all the Jane Austens, kinda. I'm reading one now that I haven't read, but like I've read majority of them. And I was like, maybe I can listen to that while I'm like, you know, just working, editing, driving my car, you know, like just to listen to all the cast because it's fun, you know. Just to realize they have edited the text.
Oh.
And, you know, in the beginning, I was like, wait a minute, because I started listening to Pride and Prejudice, you know, like that's the first one they pick, you know. And I was like, wait a minute, Mr. Darcy doesn't say that at all, does he? You know, and you realize you're a nerd when you remember specific dialogues and you be like, no, he didn't say it like that. And I had to like run back home, look into my book, and I was like, he didn't say that. And they added stuff and they took away stuff. And I'm staring at you, Audible. Why would you do that to Jane Austen? Why would you feel the need to add to Jane Austen? I will never understand that, you know? So ever since then, I feel very like scared of translations and stuff. Like I would have understood if you said unabrogated, because then it means that it's not 100% correct, you know, but this one did not have it. On the other hand, Monkey King did, so I knew it was going to be meh.
Yeah, and it also kind of, you know, I knew before buying this book that Monkey King, like The Journey to the West, is like 5 books. No way that you can fit 5 books of Chinese into 1 book of English.
Yeah, I mean, there is, but I think it took a while. I think they didn't translate the entire thing until like 2010 or something into English. Before that, like they translated one in the Second World War, like in the 1940s something. But it was also the unabrogated thing that this one is. So it's not until like recent times when you can actually read the entire thing entirely, which I find it odd, but maybe understandable. I don't know. The world
kind
is
of
weird.
Odd as well, because especially when you kind of see it out of the views, well, like what this book has done for Asian culture in large. Because without this book, we wouldn't have, you know, Dragon Balls. We wouldn't have Naruto. A lot of anime tropes comes from this book.
Very true. Very true. That is very
so
true.
Why on earth have no nerd translated this book before?
I mean, there is different kind of nerds, Gina. I might
I
inform
know.
you.
I know.
You know,
but
like not all anime nerds actually are reading nerds as well.
I know, but if you consider the amount of anime manga nerds, some of them must be reading literature book nerds as well, because you and me are. You know? There must be more of us.
You're telling me I'm an anime nerd? Huh? Okay, I'm sorry. I
It's
feel
not
like,
that far off.
I feel like I put my anime time on a shelf. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
but
when
you used to really love it. Like, you know?
it's weird, isn't it? Like, you know, I watched so much anime. I was gonna say hentai, but it's not what I meant. I watched so much anime.
Are you sure?
No. I watched so much anime when I grew up and when I became like, you know, a teenager and everything. But I stopped when I was like 25. And it's not because, you know, I grew old. I just got into other hobbies and just kind of like forgot to keep up. And it's not like I dislike anime, but it's just that I don't feel like I want to watch the new stuff. If I'm gonna watch anime, I just rewatch the old shit that I liked. I don't know. So, you know, when people be like, you know, oh, you like anime? What animes do you like? And I come, you know, with animes that were like popular in the beginning of the 2000s. I feel like I'm very far away, you know? Like,
yeah, but I also feel like anime is not as accessible now than it used to be in a weird way, because legality and stuff like that. It's more difficult to find the cheap stuff.
yeah.
And I have also been checking, like, because I still like to watch some anime, so I've been kind of looking at, you know, Crunchyroll or stuff like that. But even if I get a subscription, it's really difficult for me to find a good anime that actually has a subbed version, because I am way too used to the early 2000s dub to go near an English dub.
Same.
I am traumatized.
Same. Oh my god.
Always go for the sub. And sometimes they don't exist. And sometimes you start off and then you go to season 2 and suddenly the only sub you have is Italian sub.
Oh my god, I remember
and
that.
And that kind of just makes like I pay you for a service. Why on earth do you not have English sub? That should be the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, I feel like
you literally only add a text at the bottom in English.
I remember back in the day, I watched Oran High School Host Club on YouTube, and it was divided in like 3 parts. Like each episode was like 3 parts, and then you couldn't find like the last part of the episode, and you were like, "What the fuck?" And then you did find it, and it was like Espanol, and you were like, "No, why? Why are you like this?" Oh my god, I remember.
Yeah.
I also
remember. I also remember the manga, because, you know, then it was nerds, but nerds who translated it from the Japanese to the English. So you got it in like not official, but you got it in English a week or so after it came out in Japan.
Yeah.
And I remember reading so many bad translations, but we still got it.
You know, like, you know...
And that's also a thing that doesn't exist now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I also feel like, you know, you and I, like, our English, because everyone is like, how are your English so good? Because it was really good, even, like, in high school and everything, you know, in school. I think it was because, like, we were nerds and we wanted to get our hands on good stuff. And then you have to just learn English, because subs and translations and everything. So a lot of my English, and I believe yours as well, comes from us watching and reading both anime and mangas. And I also started Japanese dramas, and then I got into Korean dramas. You know, my high school time, when I met Gina, I was like, manga and anime? No way. I'm into K-dramas now. Like, I sat and I cried for hours watching these sad-ass Korean dramas. Which I, by the way, don't watch anymore, because I feel like all the Korean dramas today are basically the same story over and over again. Sad, but true.
Yeah.
I also feel like it kind of is the same with anime, because it feels like, you know, if you like a genre, let's say you like fantasy, or you like, you know, these epic battle things, you know, like, I don't know, adventure things, doesn't they kind of all get matched up together because they have the same characters, the same adventure, the same purpose, the same themes, the same motto and message, you know? And it's just like, if I want to spend time in watching something, I want to watch something different, something original, not something that's copy pasted. I understand why it's like that, because it is popular and they mass produce it, you know? I understand. It's money related. But sometimes I just feel like I don't have that much time and energy in my life when I'm an adult, which sounds super weird, because when you were a kid, you were like, when I'm an adult, I'm gonna do whatever I want with my time. Yeah, you don't have
and
time.
my money, I'm gonna buy so many video games.
You don't have time and money. I'm telling you.
And you don't have energy.
Definitely not. Even if you did have like all the things to splooge on all these things, you don't have the energy to do it. Like, you know, you'd rather take a nap.
But I really agree with what you said about the anime. Like, it definitely feels like it's either just really, really the same, and it's also a lot of the anime that I find is really aimed towards teenagers.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because sometimes adults can enjoy the same thing as teenagers. It's fine. But maybe I don't want to see an anime of kids in school. Maybe I want something more either out of school or more adult themed, and it doesn't need to be just when you say adult theme. Most people just think of the naughties. That's not what I mean.
Yeah, you want to see, like, you know, going to work kind of stuff, you know. And I think the reason
it doesn't
why
need
they don't
to be
have
go
that,
to. It doesn't need to go to work in a like present day situation, but more of a.
I think the reason why they don't have that is because most people in Japan try to. They work so hard, like, you know, we know how Japanese people work really, really hard, you know, and they have a culture of you should fall asleep at work. That's like acceptable. Then you can go home after like 14 hours, you know. So I think that when they do have the time and they go into relax and watch anime, they want to watch something that doesn't correlate to daily life as work life or adulthood, because they want to escape. And I think that's why there's so many adventure and fantasy, as well as kids stuff,
and
or kids in quotation.
I can understand the adventures and stuff like that, but why on earth does the main protagonist need to be either 15 or 10?
I think it's because, like, you know, most people's not best time of their life, but I think, like, you know, when they're struggling with work, they look back on when they were as happiest, or when they had, like, you know, all their friends and they were like free but not really free, because, you know, when I work a lot and I'm like, I don't like this, you know, I always think back on high school with you, because I was like, sure, we had a lot of homework, and, you know, but we had so much free times when you compare to now, and we had energy, we did so many things. Like, you know, if I could go back to that time, I 100% would. So I kind of understand. Like, I get it, but I also, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. It's just that I wished that there were something else.
Yeah.
Basically.
I love anime, but manga fits me better since there's a wide variety. That's what I like.
Yeah.
I enjoy manga more than I like anime. It's like, because they always pick the most like popular things to make it into an anime. It's understandable, it's money related, it is what it is. But when it comes to manga, you can find so many more original things out there that actually fits your taste. It's hard to find though if you don't know what you're looking for.
I was about to say that the only difficulty, and it's kind of the same with anime as well, I know that there's a lot of good animes out there, but the difficult thing is to find them and to find, like, even if you figure out that this is a thing that exists that I might like, actually finding them, even though you know they exist, can be surprisingly difficult, and I just do not have the time to do that.
Yeah.
I'd much rather just pop up my Switch or something and play a game or read a book than try and spend hours on trying to find an anime or manga that might not even be something that I enjoy.
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to enjoy playing my Switch. I know that I'm going to enjoy reading that book. If I do not enjoy that book, I'm just going to close it and do something else.
You know what my guilty pleasure is recently, by the way?
What?
Webtoons.
Yeah, I accidentally got stuck there and I got way too frustrated over needing to wait.
But I kind of enjoy it because, like, I don't know how many I'm following now, but I have different ones I'm following. And I legit have one chapter each day from, like, one of my series. It makes my mornings so happy, you know, when I see a notification that this one is updated today. And I'm like, oh, so I can spend like 10 minutes scrolling a chapter each morning before I feel like, you know, okay, I have to do this day and like get out of bed and do whatever, you know, with my life, go to work. But it really fills me with joy. And a lot of webtoons are more adult-ish to that, but then also the ones I'm following is either very bloody gory things, or it's like super girly, cuddly, oh my god, I was reincarnated into my favorite book and I'm the villain and I'm going to die, which means I have to change the plot line so I'm not the villain anymore. You know. And I think I enjoy them because, like, they're easy to predict, and they're not, I'm not saying they're not good, but it's just like, it's easy to read them, it's easy to get into them, and the art style is so pretty. Like, you know, webtoons is just like, whew, whew, so pretty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think we got off track. Not that I'm saying it's
I think
bad,
so too.
But a little bit off track. Mangas are awesome, and there are many mangas that just have these unique stories, but they don't get made into anime. A lot of mangas should stay at mangas though. Yeah, I feel like I have some favorite authors that they don't have any animes to their mangas, which makes sense because, like, it's not that their art style would not transfer into, yeah, you know what, I think that's it. The best part of these authors are the art style, and I feel like if you would make it into an anime, it would not be as good, because when you're reading the book, it's just like pure art when you open each page and you're like, this is pretty, this is amazing. And then they make an anime and it's just like, you know?
And sometimes the storytelling of a manga is really focused and centered on it being a manga. Because there's a lot of things that you can do in a manga that you cannot do in an anime. And there are a lot of things that you can do in an anime that you cannot do in a manga. They are different mediums, which needs to be respected.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of really, really good mangas are horrible as an anime. And some things a scene can be awesome in the anime because you have all of those different possibilities that you do not have in the manga.
Yeah.
So
I agreed with Berserker and Vagabond for staying as mangas. I agree with those. I also really, really agree, not to know anyone else say that, but Junji Ito, his horror things, because like he is so... They have made animes on his things and I've watched them, and sure, they're normal creepy animes, but I don't know, his art style is so specific and I feel like it doesn't work when it's in color. I feel like, it works when it's black and white, and I heard that they are making a Junji Ito series now that is going to be black and white, and it's going to be his exact art style. So I'm kind of actually looking forward to that one, because I think it's going to be like a new thing between like, how anime has been animated before, and this is going to be something very new and original that people haven't seen before, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to that.
yeah.
It's going to be
and we will
awesome.
We will not speak about Boruto because me and Nofi remembered where Naruto came out, so we will not speak about Boruto.
You're making me feel old when you say it like that.
I'm just saying that I'm gonna go off on a rant that I do not wish to go off on.
Gina just putting her hand over her eyes and being like, I cannot read that comment.
Yep. I'm just saying that we will not speak about this. And I'm gonna think my happy thoughts and think of Full Metal Alchemist instead.
Yeah. Oh my god. I also made a picture of questions that we can go off on. We don't have to speak about all the questions, but these are good questions that I kind of feel are easy accessing. So I have 2 of characters, 2 of general, 2 on plot, and 2 on the ending, because I feel like there's a lot to talk about on the ending as well.
There's so much to talk about.
I know. Should we start with the characters though?
Yeah.
Who was your favorite character? Because like, I don't know, did we explain the plot good? It's about a monkey king. It's about a monk who's going to go on a pilgrimage, basically. But the main character is not the monk itself, but his disciple, the Monkey King, who is a cool ape.
Very cool stone monkey that is born from a rock egg that was born from a rock.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
then he shot lasers out of his eyes that blinded the Jade King. So yes.
Yeah.
That's how you know that the monkey's overpowered.
And there's some more disciples as well. There's the pig, and then what was the third one? I always forget the third one.
Sandy.
Oh,
so
Sandy
is like a pig demon, and Sandy is... He used to be a warrior for the Jade Emperor, I believe, and then something happened, and he got thrown out, and he became a river demon. And then there is the dragon horse, because he was a dragon, but he got transformed into a horse because he ate the monk's horse.
Exactly. And all the 3 disciples, the monkey, the pig, and the Sandy guy, they basically are disciples because they are like, they did something bad that angered the god and blah blah blah, and the Buddhists, and blah blah blah. So they're not allowed to be Buddha. or something like that. I'm confused on that part. They are told that if they do this pilgrimage and they keep this monk safe on this adventure, then they will basically be granted what they really, really want, and it's to come back to greatness, basically.
Yeah. Being forgiven or something, I thought.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, but they are also coming back to I was gonna say space, but heaven, I guess, or their version of heaven. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, favorite character.
And they needed to go on the travel because Tripitaka, who is the monk, he needed to fetch the holy scriptures from the west to bring back to the east so that they can reach enlightenment, because they are not very enlightened and are basically barbarians apparently.
And that's
so that's kind of why they
the,
need to go.
And that's why it's called the journey to the west, because they're going to go and get the scriptures.
And go back. So it's basically the journey to the west and back.
Yeah, but the back part is like one paragraph.
Yeah.
and they're not allowed to use, because like the monkey in all of them, they have like special powers where they can like fly super, super fast. So they could do this travel like, you know, in a day or maybe just an hour, but they're not allowed to use that because they have to like actually go on a journey by foot, and they can't use their powers in a way to help themselves because it is a pilgrimage and they have to learn different kind of lessons on their way. And when you read at least this translation, it felt like when you take like different legends and you put them after each other, it was like, and this was the first encounter, and then they had this encounter, and then this happened, and then they had struggling with this. You know, it didn't feel like it was like an entire story that was organized in a way that it just flowed. You know, it felt more
like reading a mythology.
Yeah, it felt like, you know, different small stories, and you were like, oh, okay, now they did this, and then they went like that. It felt like different episodes of an anime, you know?
Yeah.
Every time a chapter
it very much was like one chapter was an episode of an anime. That was my first reflection of this. I am basically reading an anime.
Yeah, like every chapter was just like, it had like the beginning, and then they had the end, and then it was like, you know, and to the very next day, and the next monster encounter, you know, and then like the next chapter was like, and this day they met this person, you know.
And it was also basically scroll the wheel. This day is a huge mountain, and on that huge mountain there is a demon.
Spooky.
And then scroll the wheel. This day it's a big river, and in that river is a monster.
yes, basically. And they basically had to like go through this, and the disciples were all really bad characters. I just have to say, like, there is a reason why they were like kicked out of greatness and the goodness, and why they were not allowed to like be up there with the gods anymore. There's no there's no good things about them, but I also feel like I hated the monk. Tripitaka.
Yeah, the monk is despicable.
You know, you would think the monk would be like this glorious, wonderful man who's just like, you know, but he was such a ditz, and he was so dumb, and he was stupid, and he was not having any smart thoughts in his entire brain, and he was just I don't know.
He's a coward. He's so scared.
Of everything.
So incredibly scared. And when he's not scared, he's basically being a stupid moron who's just like, no, this cannot be possibly a monster.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a monster.
Very naive little girl is walking into danger, and then his disciples have to like take care of him and be like, oh no, we have to save him.
Yeah, and not even his disciples, because Pixie is equally lazy and is just wants to get home to his wife, basically. throughout
and
the
he's
novel.
hungry. He's just
and he's hungry.
He's eating
just...
every time. Like, you know, the only thing he's talking about is, can we stop and eat? Like, that was everything he did. And the monkey, he was just cruel. He did not like people, and he did not mind if people died, and he just did everything to show how amazing and fantastic and great he was. He was like the biggest egoistic maniac I have ever read about. Sandy was very... I don't know.
Bland?
Very bland. I feel like, you know, I don't remember Sandy that much. It was like...
I think Sandy is the only one out of the disciples, the main characters, that I feel like, yeah, I might be able to like this this one. But it's only because he's the only reasonable one out of them.
Yeah.
He's also not as strong as Monkey. He's far from as strong as Monkey.
Yeah, nobody
And
is.
also Pixie in some ways. Like, I know that Sandy is a fighter. He is a warrior. But Pixie has basically a very overpowered weapon. Sandy doesn't have that.
Yeah.
So therefore he kind of just, in the battlefield as well, doesn't really get to shine because he doesn't have anything to show off.
Yeah.
But he is definitely smarter than Pixie. Definitely smarter than the monk, Tripitaka.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, he's more smart than Monkey. It's just that Monkey is insane in his ways of just...
He's not rational in any way.
No, he's not rational in any way. And he's so irrational that it's mind-boggling how he's correct.
Yeah. It was just like, what the fuck? I don't... yeah. I just feel like, you know, this entire book, like, I also did not like... What was her name? The goddess, was it the goddess? Or was it the god? So it told Tripitaka...
it wasn't a goddess. She was something Buddhist.
Yeah, something. Yeah. She was the one who told the monk to go on this pilgrimage, and she was always somewhere around, and when they were actually in trouble, they could go to her, and she would sometimes perhaps help in some ways. I hated
or
her
they
as
found
well.
another god that just helped them. There was so much Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah. I didn't like her either.
I just figured that she was fine. I don't think I ever read the novel as I'm gonna find a favorite character, or who on earth am I gonna like, or like
the movie
connect with.
Really plays the monk as a great guy. I think that was the purpose, but in the book it doesn't shine through like that.
And I don't think he is meant to be a good guy in the book. I think he's meant to start off extremely awful.
Yeah, because
and
he's from the East,
sudden,
so they don't have any, you know, they don't have any enlightenment. They're not smart from where he is. He's going on the pilgrimage to take home enlightenment to his village or to the East. So, like, he's supposed to, like, go on the journey to learn, I guess, and become a good person. But I can spoil the ending. Nobody's a good person in the end of the book, because everyone is awful in the end as well. There, I got it off my chest.
Yeah, they reach enlightenment, though, so...
They read it, but they actually understand it? No.
I didn't.
Me neither, but, like... I'm not a Buddhist, so...
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like when it comes to main characters, I think I would like to say Sandy because he's the most reasonable out of them.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I'm kind of maybe Monkey in a weird way, but only because he's so nonsensical that it's fun sometimes.
I would say Monkey.
And it's also because the book is kind of really, really focused on Monkey. So maybe I would actually prefer Sandy if Sandy would have gotten his share of the limelight.
Yeah.
But Pixie I despise. Tripitaka is awful.
My least favorite is Monkey, but my most favorite is Monkey as well. So, you know, I'm very struggling there because it's like, I hate him because if I would imagine Monkey as a human being, it is basically all the negative attributes in a person that I would dislike, and I would hate that human being to like the core. But if I read it in a that's kind of funny legend shit with a monkey, sure, it's funny, it's what the fuck. And like Perry says, you saw a YouTuber summarize the story about the monkey warning everyone about a demon disguised as a girl and tied up in a tree, but nobody believed him. That's basically every story ever. Monkey is saying, don't go there, don't do this, this is gonna happen, and then Tripitaka is, oh my god, friend, you're being you know, a little bit too cautious, and then Tripitaka goes into danger, and then everyone is like, please Monkey, save Tripitaka, we need help. And then Monkey has to go off with his superhuman strength and abilities and just, you know, take people down. It's just it's stupid. It's really stupid, but it's just like I can't find a single character that I'm just like, I relate to him or her, or I like this, or, you know, because everyone is awful.
They are extremely awful in a lot of ways, but I really agree with you that if I met Monkey in real life, hate is a strong word, but it's not strong enough.
Exactly. It's like, you know, if I would have met Pigsy, for example, sure, he's lazy, and sure, he wants to eat, and sure, he wants to go home to his wife. But that kind of sounds like 80% of a lot of people, and they're not that bad. They just grumpy and hungry and hangry, you know? I can a little bit relate to that when I'm hangry, but it's, I don't know, he's not that bad. In the book, he's played out to be bad, but if you add them up to like real person, I don't think it's that bad. I don't know.
I think he's a bit to the extreme.
Yeah, but every
so I think
character
I would
is.
Be, yeah. So I think it would, if he was the same, like really the same, I would still dislike that person, but not as much as Monkey.
Yeah, that's true.
Nowhere near enough.
Yeah.
And as I said, Sandy, I would probably be at least fine with. Tripitaka would just, yeah.
I also wrote another question about characters. Were there times you disagreed with a character's actions? And I wrote that down because I want to say the entire book. Every action, every character ever did was wrong. But it makes sense because like it is written in legends, and it's written as you're going to learn a lesson from like each chapter. Like, don't do this, don't do that, don't blah blah blah, be cautious of this, you know. So it makes sense that everyone is stupid and everyone is doing actions that is bad or leads them to stupidity. But after you because it's still 339 pages, and I was like, imagine reading original of 2,000 pages and they do the same mistake over and over and over and over again, and they never learn and they never do anything correctly. It really bothered me. Because in that sense, you could really tell it's more mythological. Because like when I read, for example, videos and all the stories about Zeus and, you know, the metamorphosis of Ovidius and all these mythological stories, they are basically the same stories-ish. They have the same lessons and all the same like characteristics. And it really got annoying to hear about how Zeus would rape all these innocent women, and then, you know, when Hera would hear about it, she would be mad about it, and he was like, but honey, it is not my fault. They are so beautiful. And then she changed them into like an animal, you know? Like, I don't know how many mythological stories I read like that in like one book. Like, you know, I read like 15 or something after each other. And I'm like, can we talk about this? Can we talk about that maybe rape is bad and it's not the woman's fault? You know? And I felt like it was the same with the Journey to the West. You know, we don't believe a monkey when he's warning us. We don't do this. We do walk into danger. We see this and we like, oh no, everyone is friendly. Everyone is good friends with us. You know, we're on a journey, on a pilgrimage. Everyone will, you know, welcome us into their humble abode. I don't know.
I kind of connected it a lot with Norse mythology because I've read some Norse myths. And the really weird thing there is that Monkey is both Thor and Loki at the same time.
Oh, you think like that? Okay.
Yeah, because Monkey is the troublemaker that gets everyone into trouble. But Monkey is also the one that's gonna get everyone out of the trouble. And in case there's a really big monster, Monkey is the one that's gonna knock them down, not with a hammer, but with a ginormous staff that's so heavy that no one else but him can carry. And there's... Yeah.
It makes sense. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And also the whole bit about Monkey just saying that, no, this is actually a bad guy. Because that's such a Loki thing to do, that just, hey, this is a bad guy.
Yeah.
Hello? And no one is believing him.
Yeah.
And it's also very much Loki thing to just get everyone out of the trouble. Normally Loki is the one who gets everyone into the trouble as well, so... Me.
Aren't the main cast supposed to represent something specific? Like Monkey is OP because he's representing the mind. I can't say I'm that well versed in that. I can't say I actually know of that. I have not read up on it.
I've heard people say that Monkey is the mind or this stuff like that. And I can see that when it comes to certain bits. I can see that Pigsy represent want or something like that.
Yeah,
but,
also, I want to say greed, but yeah, sure.
yeah, greed, but... Yeah. But I'm not so sure that I can agree with... Like, I'm not so sure that I can see it. I can figure it out that, like, sure, this might be a thing.
Yeah.
But I also want to just... Because both me and Ophi has kind of connected this to mythology. So it might also be just mythological, like a mythological story. Not everything needs to have a meaning behind it. There might be a meaning behind it, but maybe there isn't.
You know, something that I started thinking about recently is the way that when it comes to like analyzing literature and scriptures and all of these things, we don't know. We legit don't know. Like, you know, everyone is speaking about like analyzing Jane Austen and all these books and be like, you know, over analyzing, being like, she used this word on this page, which probably means this and blah, blah, blah. You know, they are like this intricate storylines on how this author must have been thinking and visionating, and we don't know. We can't ask the author. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it just is what it is. And we today, we want to find meaning in every word, in every sentence, and in every symbolism that we overanalyze it. But the thing that's also interesting is the way I analyze something is not wrong, because if that's how I feel and how I can see it and how I can put it together with other works that I've read, it's correct in one way. If Gina sees something completely different, that's also fine. That's also true in her way. I feel like, you know, sure, there are some correct ways and some incorrect ways, but I also feel like sometimes we overanalyze things and think too much, you know? Sometimes scriptures and things should just be enjoyed for what they are.
I also kind of, at least I've started to think this way. I didn't think that way when I was younger. But I've kind of started to think that we tend to have kind of a need almost for old pieces of literature and art and art in general to have some kind of hidden meaning. And because we don't kind of think that way when it comes to a lot of present day novels. Like, just random book in my shelf, and I'm gonna pick Spinning Silver. Like, Spinning Silver is a nice book. I doubt people are gonna read it in 100 years because it's not that famous, but if so, it's a book. It doesn't need to have a hidden meaning in behind, and I feel like people reading that book now are not gonna go looking for hidden meanings, but people in 200, 300 years are gonna try and find hidden meanings in it. Because it's old and famous, therefore it must have a hidden meaning.
Imagine if people in 200-300 years pick up Twilight or like a shade of grey, and they go like, is this a good representation of the 2000 year? You know, is this how humans were thinking in the 2000s? Oh my god,
is this how their relationships worked?
Do they like red flags that much? This Sarah J. Maas is definitely going into that a lot. I just find it really funny, but like, you know, and I don't think the way people wrote like books then and how people write books today, sure, it's a little bit more commercialized today and a little bit more copy paste, but I still think like if we look at like these fancy authors, I'm doing quotations, you can't see them, but I'm doing it, you know. But if you look at these fancy daily life, normal-ish authors that don't do like fantasy, but they do like more social or society descriptions and stuff, they don't overthink everything they're writing. They just write. And I don't think that, you know, I think that in a couple of 100 years, people are going to overanalyze that as well. And they're going to find meaning in things that's probably not there. You know, I saw an interview recently by this author. It was a young adult author, Swedish. Haven't done anything translated, so it doesn't matter who he was. But anyway, he got asked, he was asked a question like, oh, did you know that, you know, this correlates to your other book and blah blah blah, and is it a hidden meaning or a hidden message towards this book, you know, that you published 10 years ago? And he just looked at the interviewee and he was like, yes, it was all thought out. And I could see in his eyes that he was lying. That motherfucker was lying. He 100% did not figure that one out himself. But after the interview person asked him this question and she presented her idea of like a hidden meaning in his teenage book, he ran with that, and that's what he's telling everyone in every interview now. I find it really hilarious, and I don't know if anyone else is seeing it, but I'm definitely seeing it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I feel like is the thing with a lot of the stories, that the author probably didn't think about this. Maybe a lot of the things that just turns up were something that the author thought about, but I doubt that all of them are.
Yeah, especially because like he's writing down legends that he have been told since the year 600. That's like 1,000 years of different legends that have been brewing, and we know what happens with legends when they go from mouth to mouth. They get added out on stuff, and you know, they get more things on it. So I think that when the author also wrote it, it was like when it came to like hidden messages and lessons that you learn from the book and each chapter, you know, I feel like we can't like 100% give it to the author either. It's probably like every person who added to those stories and those legends are also like part of how this phenomenon came about.
Yeah. I think we can connect it to the Odyssey or the Iliad in that way.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
the Iliad is about a war that we now know actually happened, so it's based on a historical event. But in the Iliad you also have your Achilles, your Hector, you're all great heroes. You have a bunch of gods running around. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, you have a historical baseline, but you add the mythology on top.
Definitely. Yeah. Does each
you know?
chapter or mini story have a life lesson, since it was a journey to complete the Buddhist scripture, or kind of like a filler story in the journey to the West? Both. I feel like, you know,
I feel like think of this as Pokemon. You have your goal of becoming the Pokemon champion, but in the middle you're just gonna battle a lot of Pokemon. Every battle doesn't have a big meaning or doesn't change anything. Sometimes you have those kind of things happening, but more often than not it's just kind of episodic. It's a bit of a monster of the week kind of deal. Sometimes you get lasting impacts, sometimes no.
Yeah, definitely. Did you learn anything by this book, by the way, Gina?
Yeah, if your mentor has an argument with you and he whacks you 3 times in the head and just storms out of the building, you're apparently meant to meet him at 3 a.m. in the night in his room.
Definitely. That's how that works.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, like all the life lessons that you are supposed to learn from the book is like life lessons that I feel like every human being kind of already know of. If you're not a psychopath, of course, but I feel like, you know, like it's not like you went, because I feel like we all learn these lessons maybe from like fairy tales when you were a kid, maybe the Grimm stories for some people. Some people watched animes that kind of was related to this, I guess. But I feel like, you know, we all know these things that we were supposed to learn from the book, but we got it from somewhere else, maybe. One thing that
because it's basically be respectful of nature, because if you aren't, you're gonna end up dead. It's not a monster that's gonna kill you out in nature, but don't mess with nature, you're gonna end up dead.
Yeah.
And it's also a story about be respectful towards the people that you meet and try to help out when you can. And those are life lessons that you kind of get to learn early on. And if you haven't learned them early on, you really should learn them ASAP.
Yes, definitely. So I can't really say I learned anything new when I read this book.
Yeah.
The thing I could say that I learned from this book is the mythology, because I did not know much about the Monkey King or the story behind the pilgrimage and stuff. So I feel like, you know, I learned more about the Chinese culture in a way.
I feel like it really broadened my world quite a lot, and it kind of made me connect a whole lot of pieces of art in Japan and China that I kind of didn't know had a common ground, basically.
Yeah. I also find it really nice to like add different mythology together and be like, I read the Greek one, I read the Roman one, I read Norse ones, and now I read like Chinese ones. And it's fun to see there's like a red thread between all of them. Kind of.
Yeah. And that's also kind of what I think is interesting, because reading Monkey King, I could really, really easily connect it to Naruto, Full Metal Alchemist, you know? Ed is basically a stand-in for Monkey King in a lot of ways, but he's likable.
Yeah.
But he's the same, you know, tiny little person who's crazily strong.
Yeah.
And you could really just connect it to a lot of mangas, animes, Asian art forms in present day, which was really interesting. And when you reflect on it instead, I can start to connect it to the Odyssey and stuff in the West as well, which is interesting in and of itself. I also found it interesting because he's like, the monk is basically just Moses away when he's a kid. Yeah. And his mom bit off his toe. I cannot stop thinking about when she bit off his toe.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You know?
It's very weird. The man has 9 toes because his mom bit it off.
Yes. Yeah. I have another question that I don't know, you know, the answer to myself, because it's like, would you recommend this book to a friend? And I feel like it depends on the friend. I feel like this is not a book I would recommend to anyone. It's not like, you know, if someone comes in to the library, because I'm a librarian, you guys, if you don't know, if someone comes into the library and they be like, give me a book about adventure, you know, I would not put this book in their hands. I feel like there's a specific kind of person you would have to be to enjoy this. And I'm not saying like, you know, you have to be smart or you have to have, you know, an intellect. That's not it. It's just like, I don't feel like anyone could sit through this, considering there's so many things that's repeated over and over again. I don't think many would enjoy it in that sense. So it's hard. It's hard to like also put it in hands of people. Yeah.
And it's also a very, very condensed book.
Yeah.
Because, you know, some of the fight scenes, when they are like pictured, they are so shortened down to the bare minimum that something that would take an anime, for example, an entire episode, because the fight scenes in anime are kind of insane. They take an entire episode. That would be 3 sentences in this book.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's so immensely condensed that it really is, at least for me, it was kind of tiresome to read at times, because many things happened in so little time in the book that you kind of had to fill out the spaces yourself, which is a difficult thing to do, and it's not an easy way to read.
Yeah.
So it really does, it is not an easy book to read. I did recommend this book to Ophi. I really wanted her to read this book, but that was also because I wanted her to read this insanity. But
I'm not anyone also, you know.
Yeah.
I felt like,
she's a better reader than I am, so I could recommend it to a better reader.
But you know, because I read Dante's comedy, you know, and I felt like that was probably one of the hardest reads I've done, because I also did it in Old English. I'm staring into the void now because I'm remembering the horrifying truth that I did that. But I read like a chapter, and then I had to like read a summarizing after to be like, oh, that's what I read. And then I had to like reread it. So the Monkey King was fine for me, but it was very much, so much happened and you got tired after a while. And I'm the kind of reader who truly enjoy descriptions. Like, descriptions is my world. I love to feel like I'm there, like I'm involved in the story. Like I'm getting pretty descriptions on how it looks like outside. I'm getting descriptions on how the characters look like, how they're thinking, you know, and you don't really get that here. It was very condensed in the way that he went here, he said this, he is mad, he kicked him. You know, and I don't know if it's the translation, considering it went from 2,000 to 339 pages, the one that we read, or if it's just the way it's written because it's more mythological legends and that's just how it is. But if you would look at the Iliad and the Odyssey, they still have descriptions in a way that the Monkey King did not have. And I think that's purely because of the translation.
Yeah.
So basically a starter book for one who wants to look into Chinese literature legends, Monkey King condensed heavily. Yes. But I also feel like...
And also if you are curious about mythology and you're also curious about manga and anime. But you need to be prepared that it's not an easy read.
It took me a week to read, a week and a half, and I usually read a book in a day or two.
Yeah.
You want to say
it
how
took
long
me
it took
a
you?
lot longer. We will not speak about how long it took for me, but that was
Years.
also because
No,
yeah.
sorry.
But that was also because I started off with it and I got kind of burnt out on it only because it took so much energy. So I kind of had to take a break and just read like a modern book just to get my reading skills up to par again, and then I could continue with it.
It makes sense. Yeah. I actually started reading Monkey King when I was in a reading slump, and I would say if you are in one, to me it's amazing that Gina got out of her because she read it, but I feel like if you are in a reading slump, this is not the book for you. I feel like you need to have read and be like, you know, oh my god, I love reading and I want to pick this book up. You can't be like, I want to read but I don't really want to read, and you know, you can't really be in that, oh, I don't really feel like reading kind of, because then you will not enjoy the book, because then it will be chaotic and a lot of things will happen all the time and you will just feel overwhelmed with all the information and all the things that are being thrown at you in your face. So I feel like, because sometimes I can read when I have a migraine. You can't read this book when you have a migraine. You can't read this book after a long day if you're tired, because you will read the words, but they will go in and out just as fast. But you will not actually know what it is you're reading. So I feel like you need to be in a very specific state of mind to enjoy and read this book, which I feel like is very true to all books from this century. I feel like all old scriptures, like the Odyssey and Iliad, you know, all of them, Dante's comedy, you need to have your brain with you on the day that you're reading it.
Yeah.
And not in an IQ way.
And there has been a lot of days where, you know, I didn't have my brain with me. It could be a bad day. It could be that I was very tired or whatever. And I couldn't even get to half a page before it just went like, no, I couldn't understand what was going on, or my mind just shut off completely because it's just too much.
Do you have a favorite chapter or a favorite adventure or scene that happened? I have two. The first one is when Tripitaka got pregnant.
Yeah, that's one of mine as well.
I thought it was really, really funny how a man got pregnant and all the women went, oh, he can't take the pain of birth. You know, it was really funny to me.
And it was also so fun because they basically just went to a river and drank water. Like, and today, today it's a different time because we have cars, we have a lot of things that pollute the air. So now drinking water out in the open isn't safe. I'm sure that it was a lot safer back then, but I'm also pretty sure that it wasn't entirely safe.
Yeah.
So it's basically also like them just drinking out of a random river, and I just went like, what on earth, you don't know what is there in the water.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that that water made them pregnant.
Yeah.
And the women are having so much fun at the monk and Pigsy, because of course it was Pigsy.
Yeah. The greedy man.
Yeah. And the women are having so much fun over them. Yeah. And it was also only old ladies, not young ladies. So it was basically just old ladies giggling.
Yes. I found
and
it really
the guy
funny.
Was being completely like, why aren't you helping us? They are sick.
And they were like, they're not sick, they're just pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I found that really funny. And another one that I really liked was when they were messing with the Taoists, you know, when they're the sculptures, not the sculptures, but the statues, and they pee on the statues and they try to be like the statues, so they would like give them food and offerings to eat, and then the monkeys pee all over them and they laugh and they run away.
Yeah,
I found that really funny too.
I also liked because Monkey, of course, challenged the monk, like the Taoists.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. The one with the weather. Yeah.
And then because they were immortal in different ways, and Monkey is also immortal because he learned how to be immortal. And then he ate peaches of immortality, and then he drank wine of immortality, and then he ate pills of immortality. So he's immortal in a lot of ways, basically.
Yes.
He's very immortal. So of course he challenged them because they were immortal. He's immortal. What would you do? And he figured out how they were cheating in how they are immortal because they aren't. And he figured out how they were cheating, and he just did the whole thing like, tada, I survived. And now I will remove your way of cheating so that you are actually doing the competition fair and square. And they died.
Yeah. He was like, I will take my heart out, and he's cut his heart out, and he's like, I'm still alive.
Yeah.
It was really fun. What I did not like, because there was a lot of chapters where there was like a lot of women who were like kidnapped, and they had to like save the women. And I don't know, it just got really boring for me that was like the same story over and over again with all these weak women who could not like take care of themselves.
Weak women and the monk.
Yeah, Tripitaka as well. Yeah, the weak
and he's
women
apparently the manliest of the men because he had all of the young energy in him.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yes,
I would
very manly man.
I can't say that my womanly womb is screaming for his character to have my babies, but I don't know how you're feeling.
He's the least manly man that I have ever read about.
Yes, he's probably not that manly. Maybe he's in the movie. I don't know. But yeah. There is a lot of fun scenes and chapters in this one, you know?
And I think that if you're seeing it, like, I don't think you can, sure, you can probably read it as I want to go on a great literary exploration and learn about all of the hidden meanings in it. But it's also a fun read if you read it only to have a fun read.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there are a lot of fun adventures.
Definitely, yeah.
I also like it. There's a lot of scenes that I really like. And I really like when Tripitaka the monk and Monkey became unfriends, and Tripitaka basically wanted Monkey to leave. And Monkey wanted to be a good little disciple and bow to his master before leaving. And Tripitaka just changed directions and turned around as soon as Monkey tried to do that. So Monkey just duplicated himself around Tripitaka so that he was able to actually bow goodbye to him.
Yes.
It's the most aggressive bow ever.
It's also like it's the most aggressive kindness, because he was like, Monkey did never try to be kind to people. He was very egocentric and very like in himself, but this was like one of the few selfless things he wanted to do, and wanted to be a good disciple, you know, and wanted to do what his master was telling him, and his master would not let him. So he was like, I feel like, you know, it's like, you know, with aggressive girlfriends who's just like, take my love now, and they throw all their love at the person. I feel like it was like the same kind of scene there, you know, with the monkey is like, take my kindness, you don't get it often, so take it now. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also really like the shapeshifter duels, because those exist.
Oh yeah, that was pretty cool indeed.
Yeah, because I think there were 2 or something like that, at least 2. And it's just like Monkey transforms into a sparrow, and then his opponent transforms into a sparrow hawk, and then Monkey transforms into an eagle, and then the other transforms into a cormorant or whatever. It's just...
Yeah.
And it's just a huge list, and just... It is a huge list, but it's a very fun list.
It is.
Especially if you're just trying to... Because you do need to have it a bit of a play in your head. You can't just read the words. I think they would be very boring in that case.
Yeah.
But if you actually play it out as an anime, it's very fun.
I also feel like... Oh no, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no. Oh no.
I know.
Hi Mika Man, by the way.
Hello.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like if you're gonna read this book, I feel like you should not read it for how amazingly beautiful it's written. I feel like if you're gonna read it, you should read it for the fun plot, you know, because I will tell you, the sentences are not beautiful. It's not, you know, constructed in an amazing, oh my god, this is so poetic kind of way. If you're gonna read it for like the fun plot and legends that it is, and enjoy them for that way.
It's an anime in book form from the 1600s.
Yeah. The other questions we actually have talked about is like, did the author do a good job in organizing the plot and moving it along? We have talked about this a lot, that basically every chapter is like an episode, or, you know, it has a red thread because it moves along, but it doesn't like go together like normal books, I will say, do.
No, it doesn't. And something that I personally didn't quite like with it is that it takes half of the book to actually get to the Monster a Week episode.
Oh yeah. Because
the first half is just
Monkey.
A huge amount of chapters is only Monkey. And then it's a huge bit, like suddenly, it was very jarring to me when I read it. And I whined a lot to Ophi when I got to that point. Because all of a sudden it's just a weird random person whose mom bit off his toe, and I couldn't figure out why he was this important all of a sudden, that we needed to know his entire lineage like 5 generations ago.
I agree.
So that happened all of a sudden, and then you had the whole setup and finding Sandy, finding Monkey, finding Pigsy, finding the horse, finding Sandy. Or whichever order they came in, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But Monkey was first and Sandy or the horse was the last. I don't remember where the horse came in. And when we got Sandy, that was half the book. After Sandy, then it's the monster of the week kind of thing.
Yeah, then the actual adventure starts. Because I felt like,
So
the introduction was way too long.
And I kind of felt like the monster of the week episodes, I needed more of those.
Yeah.
In a way, because I kind of felt it was very jarring at the end, because all of a sudden Monkey was not the crazy monkey. All of a sudden he was basically a sage who knew everything. And I kind of couldn't connect the dots to where he came from that point to the point that he was in the last chapters.
Yeah, same. But I also feel
it
like
was very
it's
jarring.
the translation's fault. I feel like, we lost so much story in those pages that we didn't read. Because, the original is 2000 and we only read 300. It was like a summary. Because I feel like the entire book that we read was a summary, but I also feel like they put too much, maybe, pressure on the monkey's upbringing and his entire background story until we got to the actually journey to the West. I would have wanted more of the journey to the West kinda deal.
Yeah, and I also feel like the adventures are very centered around Monkey. Like we have his whole dispute with Red Bull Demon is full on display in the book. I think if there are more chapters, fine about that. Fine, they are not there. But I feel like that is a big subplot of this book. And I feel like there should be more fillers in between.
I think the reason...
It's kind of rushed.
Because this unbrigade version is called Monkey King specifically and not Journey to the West. And I feel like... Because when I read up on this translation from the Penguin that we read, it said that Julia, who is the translator, she selected chapters, so she decided on selective chapters. So I feel like they maybe took the biggest chapters that was centered about Monkey, and this is like a summary of Monkey's most well-known or his most centered stories from Journey to the West. So I feel like that's also why the reason why we are missing the other characters and not getting much of them is because this book that we read is based on Monkey more than the actual Journey to West probably is, because I feel like we probably would have gotten more from them in the original text or script.
Yeah, and I also feel like that is probably why we are actually missing out on Monkey's transformation in a weird sense. Because a lot of... If you remove a lot of chapters that doesn't directly transform or be important to Monkey, you can still have character development during the chapters where Monkey isn't the main character or in focus. And I feel like those are probably the chapters that we have lost.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely.
Or those chapters are a big part of Sandy's plotline or something like that. And they couldn't be added because then we had to add a lot of other chapters towards Sandy or whatever.
Speaking of the characters, do you feel like they changed in the end of the book? I feel like when we read the last chapter that they were trying to convince us that everyone changed and they were now good people and they're amazing. But I feel, and it could be because what we just said, that we lost a lot of chapters because we read a summarized version. But I feel like I did not see a transformation in anyone. Maybe they did a little bit, but I was not convinced that it was like true. Like, sure, they were like speaking a bit more in manner and they were a little bit nicer, I guess, but they still had the characteristics that they had in the beginning, which made me not trust the transformation at all. I just felt like, in the end they were like, oh my god, you did the pilgrimage and you're so amazing. Here you get, all the forgiveness and your place in this amazing hall back. You back to the gods. Here you get everything, and Monkey is as rude as ever, to the people, but he's forgiven, I don't know if I trusted the change of the characters.
Yeah, I don't know, because I could see some transformation in Monkey, primarily. Like, I could see that he had no impulse control at the start. He had some impulse control. Not a lot, not complete impulse control, but he had some. And it's also like his first response to problems at the start was murder.
Yeah.
And at the end, it wasn't murder. It was basically just, and don't mess with me. I'm gonna do me. Yeah. It was more defensive.
More threatening.
Later. Yeah, more threatening. Like, don't mess with me. Okay? Or stuff's going down. And he also kind of didn't want to murder people later in the books, while it was his first response in the start. So there was a transformation there. But at the start, it was still a bit jarring, because all of a sudden he was basically portrayed as a saint.
Yeah.
And that I cannot agree with, because it was basically like reading through the book, and Monkey was Monkey, and all of a sudden he was a saint.
Yeah.
And yeah, I couldn't understand that. And Pigsy, I think there might have been some character development there, but I didn't see it in the book, so therefore I don't really know it.
Yeah.
Sandy, compared to the others, was a saint the entire time. So
True.
And then Tripitaka at the beginning was a wimp, and at the end he was a wimp.
Yeah, but he was a brave wimp.
He wasn't a brave wimp. He basically saw a ginormous river and went to cry on one side until Monkey tossed him in.
Yeah, but he let Monkey toss him in.
Yeah, like but he let Monkey toss him anywhere in the start as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. I don't know, it was weird. I don't know if I liked the ending, because the ending came so abruptly. It felt like, it was like normal. And when you're watching an anime, or you're watching a TV series, and they realize that they're running out of money, and they have to do the ending episode very, very fast, because they were planning on doing another season, but they're not going to get another season, and now they have to I don't know, make a knot on the bag and make it all make sense. That's kind of how I felt the last chapter was. It was basically, oh, you did this, good, now we fly home, now we fly here, and everything is good, now everyone is a saint, ta-da, everything is good, everything is bright, and I just felt like it was so rushed and so weird.
Yeah, and I also touched a bit on it when I said that he let Monkey toss him into the river, because that was so confusing to me. What happened at the river?
Yeah, but it was because they realized that it was like a magical number, and they needed to have like one more adventure or something.
Not that river.
Oh,
that river.
Which river are you talking about?
The river at the west, like before they got the scripture, where they had the boat with the holes in it or something like that, so they couldn't boat across.
Right, and they couldn't fly over, and then
Monkey tossed in the monk. And then Tripitaka came back up, and he was drenching wet, and then they saw a body float away. And I was slightly confused then.
Yeah, you were like, dead bodies in river? Hello?
Yeah, dead body in river. Where on earth did that came from? Confusion. And then all of a sudden, they were like, yeah, you left your body behind. And I was like, what? Did Monkey drown Tripitaka?
Yeah, it was
because
really weird.
After that point, Tripitaka didn't have a body, apparently.
Yeah.
And then he could actually ride Monkey's cloud.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I had to read that paragraph several times for me to understand that, yes, it was Tripitaka's body that floated by.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a really confusing ending because everything was... Because we said it was very condensed before, but like the last chapter is just times 10. You know, it was just worse of the worst.
Yeah.
It just
and especially because you kind of start talking about they apparently needed to have a last adventure, so they just tossed a random adventure in, and it was
not an adventure.
Not an adventure at all. It was basically just oh now what are we to do? Okay, fine, we solved it. Bye.
But it was like, you know, we need to have another adventure, and they went to a river, and he promised at the beginning of the book that he was going to tell Buddha about him so he also could be forgiven or something like that. Like this monster that was in this river. And then Tripitaka was like, oh no, I haven't actually told Buddha. What do I do? Do I lie to this monster? But then he decided he doesn't lie to the monster, and he's honest with the monster, and the monster kind of forgives him. And that was it.
Yep. And then they continued flying back.
So they were like, oh god, now we did the adventures, now we fly back again, and now it's the ending and everyone gets, you know. Yeah. But it was so weird. It was really, really weird, because I can understand from a point of view, it's like, you should never lie, it's better to be honest, you know, and blah blah blah. I can understand that, but it was like 3 sentences and then it was over.
And the way it came about, it was also so weird, because it was basically a whole lot of math, which I am fine with, but I need there to be a valid reason for the math.
And it's also like, you know, like they didn't really care about the math in the beginning of the pilgrimage. No. But then when they got there, they were like, oh my god, we actually did it in this many years and this many days. And they did this
which was foretold, but we need it to be this exact number, so therefore you cannot go back, you need to fly back so that you are back in time, because there was apparently a time. Yeah. And then also, you were supposed to go through these many difficulties, but you are 1 short, and of course Monkey knew that we were 1 short. How on earth did Monkey know?
I don't know.
How on earth does Monkey know so many things?
I feel like, you know, it's just very convenient to throw it in that, but he knew, you know?
Yeah.
It's
easy. I feel like
it's...
And I don't understand why Monkey is always the one that just knows.
Because he's the main character. Hello?
But he isn't.
Not technically, not really. But like from the author's point of view, he is, you know?
Yeah.
We have to take it from the author's point of view, I guess. I don't know. The last question is, by the way, how do you feel about the ending, and do you want to change anything about it, and how would you change it? And I feel like we're already kind of discussing that we did not like the ending. I don't know how I would have changed it though. I feel like, again, I feel like it's a translational issue or an Brigade issue, because maybe in the original they are telling more about all these math and all these days, and maybe someone is telling Monkey about this, you know, but we are not getting that in any of the legends or chapters that we are reading, because they were selected and not all of them. So I feel like, you know, when you read it, sometimes you get confused, and I feel like the confusion is probably because we're not getting the entire story. I feel like
it could also be because a cultural bit.
Oh yeah.
Because the numbers might be extremely important
in China,
through China mythology or culture or stuff like that, and we just don't know that.
Maybe.
So for us, it might be that you have had 6 adventures. And for us, it would be, yeah, of course you need a 7th.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because 7 is a lucky number.
Yeah.
Or it would be like, oh no, you've gone on 13 adventures. You need 1 more so it's not the unlucky number. That would make a lot of sense for us.
Yeah.
And we would need an explanation for that.
Yeah, true.
So it could also be that. It doesn't need to be that we need an explanation of why Monkey knows it. It could just be a weird cultural thing. Or not a weird, but, you know, cultural bit going on.
Definitely.
How I would change it, though, is that I would give more space for it. Either through just more adventures, because I really felt like we needed more adventures for the ending to make sense. I needed the kind of character development. And also the ending chapter needed to be split into more chapters, and each part needed to be getting more space.
Yeah.
So just how would I personally change the ending? I would just make more ending.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah. You can buy. They are in 5 volumes. You can buy them for $30 each. If you want to read the entire thing, that is. I'm guessing they don't have one with all the 2,000 pages in one.
Probably not.
That would be kinda sad. Oh, here we actually have one. It's $60. 1,851 pages. There's only one left.
I see.
I don't know. I feel like I want to know more, and one part of me truly really wants to read the entire thing, because I feel like I read a summary of the book and now I'm thirsting for more, you know? But yeah. I also feel like I don't have the energy, because I've read books that's 1,800 pages. Believe me, I have. That's not the issue. But the issue is I'm afraid that the book is going to be kind of like the summary, but 1,800 pages long. And I don't know if I want that, you know? Like, I don't know. Maybe one day in the future, I will actually, you know, tackle it. But probably not in the near future. I kind of feel
the same. And I also kind of feel like I could probably just skip the start. Like, just... You know, I'm old. I watched Full Metal Alchemist. But, you know, if you watched the first season of the first... like, not Brotherhood, but the first anime... Then you can just skip the first episode of Brotherhood, like the first few episodes of Brotherhood, and just get into the middle of it, because you've already watched it.
Yeah.
You don't need to watch it again.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. I will see.
So I feel like if you really do read it, you can probably skip through the parts that you have already read.
Probably, but at the same time, I feel like it's probably going to be described in a different way, and maybe it's going to be more interesting reading it that way. So be like, you know, for example, the legend or the story of, you know, the pregnancy, for example. That will probably be really fun to read, but in the original way. How it was intended to be to begin with. But I
hope that the Princess Iron fan adventure is more fun in the original, because I didn't like that one.
Yeah, I didn't really like that one either. I'm gonna see if they have it here. Oh, it's actually cheaper on this website. Will you look at that? Oh, maybe not that one.
Is it pretty though?
No, it's not.
No.
But maybe... Yes. But maybe I buy the volume, so I start with the first volume, that's 500 pages, and then I just take one each time, you know? Because you don't have to read the 1,800 in one sitting, I guess. I mean, you wouldn't do it in one sitting either, but...
No.
But maybe you would do like one volume at a time, and then you read some other books, and then you do the next volume. Considering that's how it was intended to begin with, you know, because it was written in 5 volumes and it was published in 5 volumes. It was not until later in today's society that they have done all the volumes in one go.
Yeah. Because it's today where we kind of need everything in one book.
Yeah.
Because just, you know, there are plenty of books in history as well that's divided into 2 or 3 or however many books were needed.
Yeah.
But then it was also kind of a thing where, like, and it's still a thing that big books are difficult to bind.
Yeah.
So it's easier to make 2 smaller books than one really big one.
Especially because, like, the ones of Journey to the West, that was all the pages, 1,800, they were in a soft bound.
Yeah.
And not hard covers. And I don't think it will survive, you know. I just feel like when you get to like half of it, like it's going to start to break down, you know. Like,
yeah, probably.
So maybe it's better to do it in volumes anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you guys if I ever decide to read it in all entirety.
Yeah.
What are you reading right now, by the way? You want to tell them? Yeah.
I am reading Naomi Novik. And
yeah.
I am reading Deadly Education.
I know about the book, but tell people about the book who doesn't know what the book is.
Oh, it's basically a dark academia book. And it's a wizard school that is set in between planes or something like that. And as far as I've understood, they are basically taught by a giant void. They don't have teachers in that sense, but they do get assignments. Maybe they have teachers. I just haven't found out. But they have monsters who try to kill them and eat them and stuff like that. And they learn magic to be able to survive the school and then get out into the world. Basically. And also, the school is deadly, yes, it's extremely deadly. But it's apparently worse for them to be out in the open because monsters are attracted to young wizards and witches or magicians. I don't remember what they are called, actually. And so the main character has kind of been very unloved through her childhood. So she's very cynical, extremely cynical.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the boys in her year is your typical hero. He has magic that is very apt for fighting, so he basically just goes around saving everyone. Which annoys her because that makes her unable to show off her magic because he saves the day always. So she's extremely annoyed with him because her survival out of school basically hangs on the line of the other kids need to be impressed with her so that she can go into their safe house after school. And because of him, she's afraid that can't happen. So they butt heads a lot, and then turns out that him saving everyone might not be as good as intended.
I see. I have the book too. I bought it on a book sale.
Yeah.
I been meaning to read it, but I haven't.
You should.
Yeah, I should. I just have like really hard time, like, you know, I have so many books that I want to read. Like, you know, I have like my physical TBR, like all the books that I physically own that I want to get to and read. And then I have like my digital TBR with like all the books that I have on my Goodreads app that I have put want to read on. I was on 300 yesterday. I went through it and I'm on 199 now. Because I deleted some books that I felt like I probably just added them because other people told me to and not because I actually want to read them myself. So now I only have books on my list that I actually do want to read and I do want to get to, and not because I feel like I should, you know?
Yeah.
But 199 books is still a lot. But on the other hand, the books that I have in my bookshelf also correlate to I have them on my Goodreads app as want to read, so, you know. It is what it is. This book is one of them, by the way.
Yeah. You should read it.
I should most definitely read it. But I have... I don't know, like, you know, when I don't have a book and I'm like, what do I read now? I just go and I stare at my bookcase because it's hard to like plan out your reading. I know a lot of people plan it out and they'd be like, oh, it's, you know, winter soon, I'm going to read more cozy wintry books or something like that. I don't work like that. I need to go to my bookcase or by my app on Goodreads, and I need to scroll through there. But I have to like look at all the book covers, and when I feel a moment, when I see a book, that's when I know I need to read that one.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to just be like, okay, I will pick this one up because it's the next in line. That's not how I work. I have to feel that, I really want to read that right now feeling. Otherwise, I don't want to pick it up. It doesn't mean I don't want to read it. I do want to read it at some point, but maybe not right now. I don't know.
I'm the same. And what I sometimes do is sometimes I choose a book based on, like, I don't have the energy to read something. I'm gonna read something that I've already read, or I'm gonna read some, you know, garbage YA stuff.
Yeah.
Because it takes so little effort to read those books. And it's just so garbage that you don't need to think about it either.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you know, trash TV in that sense. You just pick it up and you read it and don't need to think about it, and you can toss it away unfinished. It's fine. You know how it's gonna end. And sometimes it's just like for Monkey King, for example, like I really want to read this, and then you pick that up no matter the consequences in some ways.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like with this particular one that I'm reading now, I just go to Ophi and just basically go like, I don't know what to read.
Oh, right.
I've been thinking about reading these. What should I read?
And then I decide, which is funny.
And then you decide, which is fun because the books that I talked about with you was not a deadly education. And then you just went like, well, don't you have the new Naomi Novik books? And I was like, yeah, I have those. You're right. I should read that.
Yes. It's funny though how that works.
Yeah.
The book that I decided that I'm reading right now, I decided on a weird whim, because like I've had it on my reading list for a long time. It's one of the only Jane Austen books I haven't read, and it's let me show you guys. It's this Northanger Abbey utav Jane Austen. I haven't haven't read that one. But I was scrolling on YouTube one day and I came across YouTube short where they talked about this book, and they told about the story, that the fact that this book was published after her birth, of course it was, after her death, I mean. So after she died, someone took the story that was unfinished, they finished it, and they did some changes to it, and they published it, which I didn't know. I thought it was like one of her books that she wrote, like her last book, which it is, but I didn't know it was published after her death and that she actually never finished it herself. So I was like a little bit interested in that, so I picked it up, and I can definitely tell now that someone told me that it's not 100% Jane Austen. It is her in a sense, but I can see certain things that I feel like, would she do that? And I'm interested in seeing the ending of this book, because apparently the ending is not her writing. So I'm a little bit interested in seeing that. The book itself is about this girl who is obsessed she is about like gothic stories, and gothic stories back in the day was like more not horror stories that we think gothic novels today is. It's more crime stories, maybe, like, you know, thrillers-ish. But she truly loves to read these gothic stories, and she works herself up really, like, a lot on it. And then she gets, like, invited to come to a gothic setting that is this Northanger Abbey. And when she gets there, it starts to play with her mind a little bit, because it kind of reminds her of all these gothic novels that she's been reading, and she's like, oh my god, it has the castle and it has these mysterious butlers and, you know, all these things, and she's starting to add things in her own head and making a story that's far from the truth. So she's a little bit Delulu for sure. And it's a little bit funny, you know, it's very witty, it's very Jane Austen. And it also has a little bit of love story, of course, in it. But it's funny, but because it's like, you can see it as a gothic satire, because at that time when Jane Austen was author, she was, you know, the gothic horror and gothic crime stories and detective stories was really, really starting to bloom out. So she wrote this as like a satire on like, you know, all the books that's getting more attention. They're her love stories. So she started to like make fun of them in a sense, which I think is really funny. Yeah. So she's like, look how delulu you will be if you read this garbage kind of thing. Yes. And as someone whose favorite genre is gothic literature, I felt like this is a need for me to read. So yeah, this is what I'm reading right now. It's fun. You know, in my mind, I was going to read The Rigor of in Notre Dame. Did I? No, I found this one instead. But it was on my reading list, so, you know, I'm not really complaining here.
Yeah, well, in my reading list, I was gonna read The Hobbit right after Journey to the West.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And as you can very much see, I did not.
Yes. It's a bit funny.
It is still on my to-be-read list. I am gonna read it. Maybe... Might read it after this one, might pick up something else in between. I'm not really sure.
Maybe in the future we can do a Tolkien discussion, you know, after you read at least one of his books.
I was about to say that don't wait for me to read the entire 4.
Trilogy. Yeah, no. I think that, you know, maybe it's enough with one, The Hobbit. And maybe the first of the Lord of the Rings, because they are very different in writing style. I'm going to be reading one of Tolkien's books this Christmas. He wrote, when his children was small, he wrote letters to them, and he pretended to be Santa Claus. So he sent his children letters from Santa Claus, and they have now published all the letters that he wrote to them and that they wrote to Santa, but it was their dad doing all the writing. And they're apparently super cute, and like Santa would like tell stories about mishaps at like the working stations of all the elves, and how the reindeers were like misbehaving, and you know, they wanted so many carrots and all these things. So apparently it's like super cute and super cozy read, and I really want to read it for Christmas.
It does sound very, very cute.
I also like that they have published like a picture of the actual letter, and then on the next page it is like they have like written it in a cleaner sense, so you can actually read what the letters say. So you also get to like see his pretty handwriting and how he's like making small doodles in the side of the letters and everything. It's so cute, so cute. And I feel like it's such a cute thing for a dad to do for his children, to make Christmas a little bit more magical as well.
Yeah.
So, but the only thing is that I want a specific edition of this book. A specific edition. And it's sold out.
Oh?
So I'm waiting for it to be in stock. And I've been waiting for a long time. It is in stock in one place, but it's very, very expensive in this place. It's like double the cost, plus you know, the postage, and I am not really into paying that much for it when I know it's half the cost somewhere else. But maybe you know, I get to read it soon. Hopefully in December, because I feel like it would be weird to read it in summer.
Yes.
Maybe January would be fine as well. I don't know. You know, now
I have an upset cat running around me.
Never knew Tolkien had a side like that. Cute. Yeah, me too. I was like really shocked when I heard about it. What is it actually called? Because now I'm like, I think it's called something Christmas letters. Yeah, the Father Christmas letters. That's what it's called. This is so cute, you know? Letters from Father Christmas, formerly known as the Father Christmas Letters, are a collection of letters written and illustrated by J.R.R. Tolkien to his children. Written from the side of Father Christmas himself. Oh my god. I was gonna say I found it on a website that has like what do you call it? Like not old books, but like, oh yeah, it is old books. Begagnade.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Used books feels weird, but
yeah. It is
previously owned books.
Yeah, it's people who don't want their books, they can sell their books here. I have found a lot of, and it's only in Sweden, but they have found a lot of people who are selling Stephen King first edition books for like $2 because they don't know what the fuck they're owning. There is this guy who's selling this book in the right edition, but he wants the new price for it, which is $40. And he said, I have not read it. But then he says there's some small issues on it, but he have not opened or read it. And I'm like, but there's issues to it, and you're wanting $40 for it, is basically a new price.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna see if they have it on the actual... It's not even that expensive. It's like $30 or $20 on like if you would buy it new. Oh, they made a new edition. Oh, that's pretty. I don't know. Okay, I will look into it. I will buy it.
Do that.
But hi, John, and hi, Takano. welcome. I'm spacing out and talking about everything else because we kind of said everything. I think we had to say. Yeah, I have said everything. I feel like I wanted to say about the book. I feel very talked out.
Yeah, I feel like I've talked about the book as well, and like we have spoken a bit about the just pure chaos the other days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have lifted the references that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I also feel like, you know, we discussed a lot of other things around the topic that was kind of interesting as well, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know. And we talked about what we are reading right now.
Yeah. And some plans about what we're gonna read later on as well.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. And we have also started to talk about a book that we're gonna read together, because we read a book together, but it was very big and like it struggled.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But we have a book that we want to read together as well, kind of soon. We also talked about that we will do this into a monthly thing, right? Like a little book podcast thing that we will do a stream each month talking about something book related. Either if we read a specific book, or if we want to talk about maybe the Nobel Prize, because that's in December, or if we want to talk about movie versus books, or we want to talk about anything else book related. I'm just throwing out ideas here.
I'm just gonna heads up, I'm not gonna be much of a talking partner when it comes to the Nobel Prize. Unless you want to talk about the Nobel Physics Prize.
Maybe I do. We can talk about everyone's dresses, you know. Look what he showed up in 2021 with the freak.
Yes. And who is she? Why is she together with him?
What is the king wearing?
What is the queen wearing? What is the princess wearing?
Oh my god, the scandals we can talk about. Yeah. It's not book related though, but kind of funny.
No. It is kind of funny.
I don't know, but we will figure it out. I feel like it's very cozy to just discuss things, especially because we have two different sides of the coin, considering I'm the librarian and you're a teacher.
And a science teacher to boot. I have no training university training in books or literature or analyzing things, but it's still,
you're logical.
Even from my side of view, books are important.
Yeah.
Which surprises a lot of kids, that when I just go to them as a math teacher, just, you should read more. The reason why you don't get a higher grade in math is because you don't read.
It is true, though. It is very true.
Yeah, but they are equally surprised every time, which is interesting.
Imagine if we worked on the same school, you know? That would be crazy.
I would send my kids to you all of the time.
I would come with math-related book tips and have book presentation on book that has math in them.
Speaking of that, there is a math book that I kind of want. I don't know if I want to read it because I think it would be difficult to read, but I kind of want it.
Just to own it, or?
Yeah, because it's cool.
Oh, I see, you're one of those people.
I kind of want
like
to read
that
it
too.
as well, but yeah, I know. But I think it's called pi or the decimals of pi or something like that, because every word
you told me
has the same number of letters as the next number in pi. So it's basically pi in book form, but a poem of sorts. I don't think it's an actual book, but it should definitely count as a poem, which is interesting, and I kind of want it.
Yes, it sounds like a mathematical book a dream.
Yeah, I think it's a very niche book. I am in that niche.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, you're getting the long hair. What if I want what if I want my long hair as well?
Oh my god, look at you. Fancy.
Very fancy. I kind of forgot which button to press though.
Yeah, I missed my crown. I did not feel as princess, a queen-ish without the crown.
I feel like I want this neck fluff because you have neck fluff.
Yeah, I do have neck fluff actually.
Yeah. That doesn't look good with the green screen, I just noticed. I know, it is very soft.
Yes. Just like you.
Yee. I am not soft, I have muscles.
Oh.
I need to carry you.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's weird though that the green screen is not working so good with your model. Because like, you know, the VTuber, like if you do it yourself, it works fine. But when it goes through this, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
But
still, this way we kind of have the moving model, which is, you know, a whole lot better and more interesting than just the PNG.
Very true. Very true.
It's not gonna work if we're ever playing games together, because I at least cannot send this to you while I'm streaming myself.
Whoa.
But
okay, sorry, I'm forgetting all my buttons. I'm like, oh, look at this.
Sure.
I have a lot of buttons to press, you know.
Yeah, so have I. I have more buttons to press than I have actually special buttons on my keyboard. Which is why I need to actually do the clickety-click when I change my clothes and hair, because I have those as click buttons on my screen. What was I talking about?
How cute I am.
Well, I take that for a given, but I was talking about something else.
Oh, I don't remember.
Basically I kind of figure that a moving version, even though it's kind of green screen isn't working, because green screen doesn't work with my model generally. It's still more fun than just a PNG that lights up when I speak.
I agree.
Because basically I need to send video from VTube Studio to OBS already transparent, because otherwise my blue eye is apparently green enough that my blue eye gets color taken out from it.
Oh no.
It's slightly interesting.
Yeah, I can't have green screen because my entire outfit is green, as you know. Yeah. So I have to have a blue screen.
I just capture transparently and I just pop it up already transparent and done. Ah, you're cute. You're in my lap now.
I am so small.
You are very small.
Look, I can have, wait. Ah, look, hot chocolate with mini marshmallows.
I know.
Oh my god, so cute.
Yeah, I'm very cute.
But yeah, no, that's not. Should we end it here, or do you have anything more to add?
I don't think I have any more.
Say goodbye to the nice people who have been nice and listened to us for 2-3 hours.
Bye, all you lovely people. Have a lovely rest of the weekend, and I will see you probably next month.
On my
Unless
stream.
You come to, on your stream.
Otherwise, she streams.
You can come to my channel. I'm gonna stream tomorrow something. Probably Pokemon.
For everyone who doesn't follow Gina, go follow. She does cozy gaming. She's more wholesome than I will ever be. Yes.
Yes.
I
can actually speak about murder and swear words and stuff here.
You can. Curse people.
Ice.
Thanks for an insightful stream. Opened my eye to different portrayals of it. Aww, I'm glad we helped someone.
Yeah.
You know, Gina and I, we usually have these discussions on our own. So I was like, let's do it in front of people. Because, I mean, someone might be interested.
Yeah, and we have talked about doing pods or podcasts or general discussions before. It's just that we kind of never actually got to do it.
I just assumed it was going to be a lot of work, you know. But I don't think it is that much work, considering this is my job.
Yeah.
This is what I do for a living, so I mean it's not that hard for me, really. Plus, it's easy. I feel like, you know, it would probably be more work if you're having book discussions with a person that you haven't had book discussions with before. But considering we are like childhood-ish friends, you know, I know what you're thinking and you know what I'm thinking, so it's easier to have a discussion.
Yeah.
I think.
And we also know each other because, you know, childhood friends and stuff like that. So it's not just a random stranger that you don't really know, because that is
it can be
nervous. Like you can get really nervous when you're doing collabs like that.
Yeah, because like also because when it comes to books discussions and stuff, because you will discuss things that you like and dislike, and you don't want to like tramp on someone's feet, you know. But here I could be like, why the fuck did you give it 5-star? What the hell? You know, I could not do that with someone else, I think. You know, like, and you get the best discussions with people you know and feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Very true.
Very true. So thank you everyone for stopping by, and I hope we helped some people out there with something, or kept someone entertained for a bit at least, you know?
Yeah.
And go check Gina out if you want more gaming streams, because I will not be doing any gaming streams at all from now on. I will only do book related things. I'm working on a VR book vlog. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm
looking forward to it.
I'm branching out a little bit and doing a little bit more of things I actually enjoy. I think I did a lot of gaming streams because I felt like I have to, because that's what VTubers do, they game. Now I feel like, you know, I will do what I want to do. So yeah, I will do different things. But go to Gina, she good at gaming.
Don't know about good, but I game.
she definitely games. Bye bye everyone.
Yeah, bye bye.